You're watching Spectrum News. It's 5 o'clock.
Okay. Thanks for joining us on Spectrum News. I'm Claudine Chalfant. At this hour, we're tracking Hurricane Irma as it heads toward the United States. So far, the storm is responsible for several deaths in the Caribbean. With maximum sustained winds of 185 miles an hour, it's the strongest on record. Our team coverage stretches from North Carolina to Florida. Right now, here's Kristen Holmes live in Miami.
Good evening. As Irma gets closer and closer to making landfall here in the U.S., here in Miami, they have expanded the evacuation zone. Some 650,000 people are now going to be affected by it. They say that there are 8 shelters open, with 4 more probably opening this afternoon. Hurricane Irma is displaying its brute force in the Dominican Republic and Haiti, pounding parts of the region with sustained winds of 180 miles per hour. This comes one day after the storm ravaged the Caribbean, leaving extensive damage in its wake, including in the island of Barbuda.
90% of the homes have been decimated. It's a real sad situation. It's a natural disaster of unprecedented scale.
And residents here in the state of Florida are watching closely. Long lines at gas stations and grocery stores. People boarding up their homes and in some cases preparing to evacuate.
We cannot protect you in the middle of the storm. This means you need to plan now on where you need to go. Do not wait.
But gasoline is already in short supply. Officials in the state say at the moment that's a top priority.
We desperately need gasoline, and that's what I fired off an email last night to the head of FEMA to see if they can get gasoline into the state, because they're running out.
Irma may force one of the largest evacuations ever in the United States. A hurricane watch already in effect for parts of southern Florida. But the timing and the track of the storm is still unclear. That's why officials want everyone in the state to be ready as soon as possible.
Get prepared now. This storm has the potential to catastrophically devastate our state, and you have to take this seriously.
And Governor Rick Scott has started escorting fuel tankers to service stations across the state in order to have enough gas so that people can, in fact, evacuate. Reporting live from Miami, I'm Kristen Holmes. Now back to you.
Kristen, thanks a lot. And while people in Florida will feel the impact first, of course, people here are still wondering exactly what will happen. As you mentioned, when Kristen was live, the winds now are 175 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So Chief Meteorologist Jeff Crum, I mean, you've been up morning, night, overnight to keep a track of the storm.
We don't sleep, and because it fluctuates a lot, and it's a good. Today we've seen that happen a lot. The winds are down to 175, still Category 5 hurricane, still a deadly hurricane. As you look over at the graphic from our weather computer, there it is. Storm is on the move, west-northwest, 16 miles an hour. Sustained winds at 175 miles an hour. And it is still a powerful, destructive, already proven deadly hurricane. And folks in Florida certainly are rightfully concerned. Now, the forecast track is updated, and there is a shift to the west, which now includes, instead of eastern Florida, a little bit with the Atlantic. It looks almost like a march right up through Florida, across southeast Georgia, between Atlanta and Augusta, and western North Carolina. And the further west this trends, if it holds, then we begin to see the diminish for substantial concerns for our region on the wane. We will begin to hopefully feel a little more comfortable with what's taking place. But this is what we're looking at right now. Very concerned about widespread power outages for now. Please understand, today is Thursday. Much will change as we continue over time, but the next few days, for your preparation, the weather's beautiful. Overnight lows tonight at 52.
Jeff, thanks a lot. And of course, a lot of North Carolinians are on edge as we wait to see what Irma will do, specifically on Tuesday. Our team coverage continues with Jonathan Lowe. He's live at the Board of Elections office as Irma may impact primary day. We'll check in with Jonathan in just a moment. But first, let's go to Alex Peterson, who is live in our update center with the story of a family just trying to dodge the storm. Alex.
Yeah, Claudine, Justin McFalls and his wife and their 6 kids left for a Turks and Caicos vacation last Saturday when Hurricane Irma was in the far east Atlantic. But now, about 7 days later, with that storm bearing down on them, residents there are being urged to take shelter immediately. A view from Justin McFalls' resort window in Turks and Caicos.
The ocean's right there. That's normally calm water.
He's from Charlotte, the owner of Queen City Plumbing. McFalls and his family hunkering down in their hotel room Thursday as Hurricane Irma creeps closer.
We woke up Tuesday morning and saw them boarding up windows and boarding up doors, and then we started to get concerned.
He says the adults are staying calm so the kids don't get upset.
Everything's going to be fine. We got them games. We got them movies.
Irma has already destroyed parts of the islands of Antigua and St. Martin. The height of the storm expected tonight as Irma aims for Turks and Caicos.
Around 9 p.m., they say that we'll be in the heat of the storm, and that'll last till around noon tomorrow.
Emergency officials urging residents to take action.
Please move to the shelters now.
McFalls says Irma is reminding him of 1989.
I was 4 years old when Hugo hit. I seen the aftermath of it, remember some of it, but, you know, we don't really know what to expect.
And McFalls and his family, they were due back in Charlotte in 2 days on Saturday, but their flights have been canceled, pushed back to at least next Tuesday. Justin tells me from his hotel room there in Turks and Caicos that they are safe for now, but they are expecting and ready for the worst. Claudine.
Alex, thanks a lot. And again, Irma is several days away, as Alex mentioned, but already elections officials are talking about how it could impact the mayoral primary. Spectrum News reporter Jonathan Lowe is live from the Mecklenburg County Board of Elections with that story. Jonathan.
Well, Claudine, I've been on the phone this afternoon with officials at the Mecklenburg County Board of Elections as well as the State Board of Elections. Officials there both tell me they are closely watching the forecast as we get closer to next Tuesday's hotly contested Democratic mayoral primary here in Charlotte. Now, Hurricane Irma, it's still early, but could bring down power lines and down trees to the city just as voters are trying to cast their votes. The State Board of Elections told me all options are on the table as far as Charlotte's primary, including postponing it, changing precinct locations, or extending voting hours. Mecklenburg County elections, they have been here before. Hurricane Hugo back in 1989 hit 5 days before a primary, causing it to be postponed for 2 weeks. But postponing an election, that is easier said than done. Charlotte is most likely looking at a second primary this go round, so there's a limited amount of time between casting the votes, canvassing, and then scheduling the second election. And that's why they are urging people to take advantage of this early voting period that we are in. It goes through Saturday. But the county, they do have an emergency plan in place.
We have actually battery backup on all the voting machines. So you do have some of that. So yes, it can proceed. And we've had that happen before at precincts. So on a large scale, no. Sure.
People can still vote.
Okay. You're still assuming you got lights, as long as we're next to a window. 7:30, it still has some light, but what's the magnitude of that?
All right, that's the big question right now, as we just heard from Jeff Crum. Michael Dickerson, the head of Mecklenburg County Board of Elections, said he expects a decision on Saturday or Sunday on how they will proceed with Tuesday's primary. The ultimate decision is up to the State Board of Elections director, and she is right now overseeing the primary here, as well as one in Cleveland County and the town of Murphy, all on Tuesday, and all could see impacts from Hurricane Irma. We're live at the Mecklenburg County Board of Elections. Claudine, back to you.
Jonathan, thanks a lot. And Spectrum News will keep you up to date on all election returns as they come in Tuesday night. And of course, that other big story, Irma. Remember, you can get a tropical update on the hurricane and other named storms at 21 and 51 minutes after each hour.
One of the things we found about our good price gouging law is that it works as a deterrent.
Governor Roy Cooper is optimistic Hurricane Irma won't cause businesses to take advantage of customers. But if price gouging comes to the Carolinas, Spectrum News business reporter Tim Spears tells us what to do.
More than 1,000 Lowe's employees filling 20,000 buckets with more than $1.3 million in supplies.
We think that's our responsibility.
All going to relief efforts for Hurricane Harvey before it sends aid for Irma.
Commit that to the communities that we do business in because we think it's the right thing to do.
While Lowe's and its partners are trying to help, some businesses may be taking advantage.
Maybe they think there's an opportunity to do so. I just know that that's not our core belief. It's not part of our values.
The Texas Attorney General's office said Houston saw $20 gallons of gas, bottles of water for $8.50, and $99 cases of water. Many in Florida trying to escape Hurricane Irma are buying plane tickets more than 10 times the normal price.
It's pretty open-ended as far as determining what price gouging is.
Tom Bartholomew with the Better Business Bureau said while North Carolina has laws against price gouging, it's vague.
Almost comes down to we know it when we see it.
There's no set guideline in the state for what constitutes gouging.
If it's different from what your average selling price is, and we can't determine that there's anything up the supply chain as to why this happened, we're coming after you.
Consumers can report any suspiciously high prices on the Attorney General's website, triggering an investigation and possible fines for the business. And since Governor Cooper has declared a state of emergency, anti-gouging statutes are in effect.
We think we have a responsibility to the citizens, to the homeowners in those markets who shop our stores every day, and help them be able to get back to some sense of normal and be able to move on with their lives.
Tim Spears, Spectrum News. The penalty for a business caught price gouging can be up to a $5,000 fine for each violation and a refund for customers who overpaid.
As Irma approaches the Carolinas, Charlotte Motor Speedway opens its gates to evacuees who may head north or inland to escape the storm. The Speedway will open its Rocky City campground at 7 o'clock Friday morning. Evacuees should access the campground off of Bruton Smith Boulevard through entrance Z and will have access to bathhouse facilities on Speedway property. Evacuees are asked to check in at the ticket office on the second floor of the Smith Tower at the Speedway's main entrance. Stay with Spectrum News as we continue to track Hurricane Irma the next several days. You can watch your Weather on the One's forecast every 10 minutes. Or if you lose cable or power during the hurricane, you can download the Spectrum News app and you can continue to watch the channel live for updates on conditions in your area.
Let's check back in now with the Weather Center for a look at your 3-day forecast.
12 minutes past our 5 o'clock hour on this Thursday evening, and a glorious day today. Chilly, cold this morning. We tied the record low of 53 set back in 1924. We're sitting in the mid-70s this hour. Our high was 76 degrees. How nice was that? And there's more of that on the way for the next couple of days at least, as you are preparing for Irma, and you still need to continue to do so if you're aware that there's been a big step west with the forecast track. We're not out of the woods by any means. We'll talk a lot more about Irma coming up at 21 past the hour. But I will tell you, it's a good sign. We'll be watching this closely with you as we head into this evening, overnight tonight, all through the weekend as well. But as I said, tonight, tomorrow, Saturday, beautiful weather indeed. It's going to be glorious. And Sunday, we'll begin to note some changes later in the day, at least at this point. Overnight lows tonight down around 52.
Your traffic from the Keffer Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Traffic Center.
513 and keeping it a little busy this afternoon. We're getting reports of an accident down North Tryon Street, right at University City Boulevard, right there where they come together. It looks like a pretty serious delay. East Harris Boulevard near the plaza. This is actually going to be on a left turn lane as you turn into the post office here, so look for some delays. East Independence Boulevard, right as you're coming up onto the Hawthorne Lane overpass. It's actually where Charlottetown Avenue joins in East Independence. It's at the end of that ramp. South Boulevard at Woodlawn, a crash still with us, and we're dealing with an accident Park Road at Selwyn Avenue. Looking live at I-77 northbound approaching us, reports of an accident. I do see one vehicle off onto the side of the off-ramp, but I don't see anything in the actual travel lanes. Just looking at a lot of heavy delays here at Tybola Road. With your traffic, I'm Jim Huggins.
As images come in of the devastation that Irma left behind on the Virgin Islands, we take a look at how you can make sure that you're prepared. Plus, in the next half hour,
a Hickory man was found dead in his driveway early Thursday morning. The Catawba County Sheriff's Office said the couple they are looking for is on the run. I have details coming up.